You've got to plan for the long haul, but you've got to deliver in the short term. Could you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's very easy to do either one. I mean, you can squeeze for a couple of years and have great results, and you've seen that happen. And you can sit back and say, I can't deliver now, but you ought to see my vision. And by the time you get to your vision, you're out of money. So I think that's typical of so many decisions. Hugging and kicking, upgrading performance, and having excellence and cutting out the bottom. All these things are part of managing.
The necessary paradox, the ambiguity in the decision-making process. I was fascinated with this notion of cutting out the bottom. This idea that you have a discipline of always differentiating. And how do you rationalize that with the team around team building? You want to build loyalty, you want to build a team, but clearly you're saying that winning teams want to be differentiated.
Well, let's look at any baseball team, any football team, any team you can think of. Clearly they differentiate. They pay the stars more than they pay the utility players. They try and trade during the season for better utility players. Now, in business, what you try and do is you try and deal with those that are not the best by candidly appraising them, by giving them feedback, by giving them a chance to improve. If they don't, or they don't feel comfortable, they'll find another place. You rarely have to act with a firing or that sort of thing. People generally want to be where they're liked. And if you're constantly upgrading the team, constantly giving people honest appraisals, I think the thing you got to really ask is, who gives honest, candid appraisals? I'll be at a business school and I'll say, how many people in this room have worked before? 99% go up. I'll ask them, how many people work for a company with integrity? 99% of the hands go up, plus. How many people have gotten an honest appraisal in the last year? Maybe 6, 8 hands out of 1,000, 10 hands out of. It's incredible.
Why is that?
Well, we've been talking about it so many times. Is it kindness? Is it not wanting to face into it? What is it? In fact, it is the cruelest thing one can do as a manager, is to bring people along to late in their careers and then deal with them then when they don't have options. They have kids in school, they have all these other things. Then all of a sudden there's a cutback and they're in their 50s or late 40s. See you later. Mm-hmm. Women, why? I've got nice appraisals here. That system has gone on as a sham for just way too long in world business. I mean, you're doing people a favor the earlier you can get them into the right environment.
Is this one of the reasons why you focus on this top and this bottom 10% notion?
And the top 20.
Mm-hmm.
And look, you absolutely have to love and hug and take care of, reward, pay, great jobs, promotions, excitement for the top 20. You've got to get the middle 70 wanting to be in the top 20. Okay, that's what you want. You want the organization constantly moving up, and you want people to be constantly learning and growing. And you've got to keep weeding out in order to do that.
What were some of the things that people did to try to avoid taking responsibility for the bottom 10%?
And we had some wild things. I mean, the wildest one of all, though, is the time that we had the poor fellow who had passed away 2 months before we got there be slipped into the bottom 10. That shows you the extent that people will go to. There's always a retiree or a semi-retiree, somebody about ready to retire that gets stuck in there. People try everything. Nobody likes to face into it because we ask them then, have you dealt with this person? They're not going to get an increase. They're not going to get any options. So you're going to have to tell them why.
If you think about...
But I'd rather talk about the top 20 than the bottom 10.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the top 20 are the people that are going to take you to the next level. In times like this, in downsizing that companies are going through now, you read it every day, there's a tremendous tendency to focus on those that go. There's a tremendous tendency, it's a human nature thing, and you should be fair, and you should place them nicely, And you should be good to them. You should be as generous as you can. But remember, they're gone. You need to be sure that your top 20 know they're loved, and they're going to be there for tomorrow's victories. So at a time like this, when people are, differentiation's never been more important in these difficult economic and uncertain times we're in. So you desperately have to differentiate.